Law of seizure protection, the two-factor TSI model using stroke stress and sleep recovery Part 2, number 1603, VPT 119, April 20, 2026, Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation. Category: Stroke and Seizure, Neurovascular Stability, Preventive Medicine. Trajectory behavior. The cumulative VMT energy curve shows an important turning point around 2016, after which the total energy remained at a relatively elevated level. Both the stroke risk trajectory and the seizure risk trajectory display similar patterns in the time domain, characterized by gradual accumulation from 2018 through 2025, followed by a peak instability period near 2025, and then a noticeable decline after the stroke event during 2025 to 2026. The seizure risk trajectory appears to follow the stroke risk trajectory closely, suggesting that the structural vulnerability associated with stroke may also influence the evolution of seizure risk of time. Both variables demonstrate a progressive accumulation behavior prior to the stroke event, indicating that physiological stress had been building gradually over several years before the acute incident occurred. Before 2025, I did not have any knowledge regarding epilepsy or seizure mechanisms, and similarly, before the stroke event, I did not have detailed understanding of stroke-related pathophysiological processes. The longitudinal dataset later revealed structural trajectory patterns that were not recognized at the time the events occurred, illustrating how long-term data observation can provide insights that are difficult to perceive during real-time experience. Topological data analysis (TDA). TDA focuses on the geometric structure of the data trajectory rather than isolated numerical values. The trajectory in 3D scattering diagram shows the evolution of the biomedical system defined by seizure strain TSI seizure, stroke-related structure stress TSI stroke, and sleep recovery capacity sleep hours from 2018 to 2026. The path demonstrates a nonlinear movement across stability regions, with relatively lower strain during 2020 to 2021, followed by a rapid transition toward higher strain during 2022 to 2025, corresponding to the period preceding the stroke event. After me stroke in 2025, the trajectory shifted toward partial stabilization, suggesting gradual recovery of neural electrical activity and structural stability within the brain. The 2D radar chart with 3 independent axes scaling highlights the relative balance among the 3 variables for selected representative years: 2018, 2021, 2025, and 2026. The geometric deformation shows increased sleep duration during the recovery period, while stroke-related structural stress remains elevated, indicating increased recovery demand after stroke. TDA reveals the direction, curvature, and continuity of the trajectory, indicating that seizure risk evolves as a path-dependent process influenced by interaction between structural vulnerability through TSI stroke and neural recovery capacity through sleep hours, when combined with viscoplastic energy analysis, which quantifies stress-strain magnitude. The topology framework captures both geometry and data connectivity, providing a more complete understanding of biomedical system behavior. Both topology and viscoplasticity can be viewed within the scope of data science. Topology characterizes the trajectory and connectivity of system states, while viscoplasticity quantifies the accumulated strain-stress interaction energy governing system evolution over time. Discussion. This simplified 2-variable TSI structure offers several advantages while maintaining clear physiological meaning. This model uses only 2 inputs: TSI stroke and sleep hours, similar to Newton's law of motion F equals ma, which keeps the formulation simple and easy to compute while preserving transparency of the underlying mechanism. The structure directly reflects the interactio between structural vulnerability of the neurovascular system and recovery capacity of neural electrical stability. Because the model contains only a small number of variables, the influence of each component can be clearly interpreted without the confusion often caused by complex multivariable statistical models. The multiplicative relationship captures the interaction effect between these 2 factors, when structural vulnerability becomes higher and recovery capacity becomes weaker. The combined effect may amplify instability within the neurological system. Conversely, when vascular conditio improves and sleep duration is sufficient, the combined effect moves toward a more stable condition. This bidirectional property reflects the behavior of many physical systems in which interacting variables jointly determine system stability. In this sense, the simplified structure resembles classical physics models, where the behavior of a system is governed by interaction among a small number of dominant variables rather than a large collection of loosely related input factors. Because seizure occurrence is closely related to neuroelectrical stability, a model that directly represents the balance between structural condition and recovery capacity may provide practical insight into seizure's trajectory behavior. The simplified structure also makes the model easier to apply for longitudinal observation, where the primary goal is to detect trend direction rather than produce an absolute diagnosis. TDA results provide the geometric direction and trajectory path of the biomedical system over time, showing how the system moves across different stability regions. In contrast, VMT results provide the magnitude of system stress or energy at specific time points, quantifying the intensity of accumulated physiological load by combining these two components. Within THVPT framework, both geometry and energy can be evaluated simultaneously. TDA explains how the system moves, including direction, curvature, and path dependence, while VMT explains how strongly the system is stressed at each stage. Together, they provide a more complete data science perspective, allowing observation of both trajectory evolution and cumulative energy behavior, leading to deeper insight into the overall biomedical system condition. Conclusion: a simple two-factor seizure risk proxy model, TSI seizure, has been developed based on TSI stroke and sleep hours. The multiplicative structure provides an intuitive interpretation of the interaction between structural vulnerability of the neurovascular system and recovery capacity of neuroelectrical stability. The EMT energy analysis indicates that sleep recovery contributes slightly more influence than stroke-related structural vulnerability within this dataset, suggesting that adequate sleep hours and quality play an important role in maintaining neural stability during the recovery period. Longitudinal trajectory observation shows that seizure risk accumulation followed a pattern similar to stroke risk accumulation prior to the stroke event, indicating that both structural stress and recovery capacity influence the evolution of neurological stability over time. After the stroke event, both trajectories show gradual reduction, suggesting partial stabilization of the biomedical system during the recovery phase. This simplified model of TSI seizure provides a practical framework for understanding the interaction between cerebral vascular condition and neural recovery behavior using a small number of physiology meaningful variables. This law of seizure protection represents an attempt to express neurological stability through a simple and interpretable mathematical structure, consistent with the principle that complex biomedical behavior may often be described using a small set of dominant interacting factors. The fact that sleep slightly outweighs stroke vulnerability underscores an important clinical reality. Stroke creates the damage terrain structural vulnerability, while sleep acts as the dynamic stabilizer. Because sleep varies daily whereas stroke damage changes more slowly as a background condition, sleep has a slightly higher energy impact on system fluctuations. Stroke acts as the mechanical backbone of seizure risk, just as diabetes serves as the metabolic backbone of stroke risk. Disclaimer: I write this paper not for fame, but to share what I have learned so others can understand their health, prevent disease, and live longer, healthier lives. This content is provided for educational reference only and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C. This content is provided for educational reference only and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C.